Hi.
That's new.
I've had a message saying this meeting is being recorded. So just to remind everybody that this meeting is being recorded.
That's a new feature, new Zoom feature. I hit the Zoom. I heard it too. It's like,
yeah. So that's interesting. There's still people entering, so if somebody can be letting them in, that would be great. Yeah, welcome back everybody to week 2 of the Empathy Circle Facilitator Training. Really good to see everybody. We're recording this session for educational purposes, and my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Edwin, but if you're in a breakout room, ultimately with Edwin in it, that's the bit that will be being recorded ongoing, but at the moment it's the whole circle. So we're just going to have a bit of time now to do some check-ins to see where everybody's at after last week's training, and then we're going to have a bit of a look at your feedback as well before we go into the session today. So what we're going to ask you to check in with is if you've got any questions or comments from the last session, perhaps things that have come up for you since you put your feedback in, because we will be looking at some of that, or it can be something you put on your feedback. And so it can either be that, or it can be how was your empathy buddy call, if you managed to do that, or it can be just a little report and feedback on your facilitation of an empathy circle in the last week, if you've managed to do that. So I'm just going to call on people and then we'll get round the whole circle. So I'm going to call, first of all, if it's okay, on is it Joelle?
Yes, hi. I was unable to get a hold of my empathy buddy, so didn't get an opportunity to be able to practice. I have some ideas about how to, as we come out of social distancing, about how to get together with people here. So that didn't happen for me, but I have some plans about implementing that. And I also just feedback, I'm listed in the listings, I'm listed as, I believe, in Europe, and I'm on the West Coast. So having me listed in a different place may cause like some miscommunication with buddies. And I think that's it.
Great, thanks, Joelle. Pass on to Paul, please. If you're there.
Can I go later? I'm still eating.
Yes, certainly. Yeah, I'll go with somebody else. Monica, how are you there?
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
Yeah, I had a session, and I think it was what we tried was being playful with the time slots. Like 1 hour, 1-to-1 felt very long. 5 minutes, and the round sometimes feels short. So we did variations with the time, what can emerge if you have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Anything else, or any other feedback? No, all good with that. Pass on to Larry, please. If you're there, Larry. Not there. Not there. Let's try Deborah.
Hi. Yeah, I've had a good week. Had a really great buddy call today with Shai. And I ran an empathy circle. That was work related. And it was really good, actually. It was a lovely atmosphere. And most of them were not used to, they'd never done anything like that before. So there was a little bit of prompting needed. And I noticed that people were also reluctant to take the whole 5 minutes. But as we got a few more rounds in, but yeah, as we went round, they relaxed more and took more time. So, looking forward to tonight.
Thank you. Cecilia, would you like to come in?
I don't have a body. I must have missed something. But what Linga was what Edwin said about doing empathy circles as an action. And if you know of any other trainer or that already exists in Sweden, I'd be so happy to know. And we might do something.
I can connect you with some. I'll contact you somehow.
Lovely, thank you.
Lovely, great. Well, connection made there. Thanks. Shall we go with Graham then?
Hello, everybody. I'm really happy to be here. And I had an empathy buddy session with Larry and Anne, and both of them were very fulfilling, very stimulating. And I spoke to my sister and connected with her. When I say connected with her, I connected with her for the first time in 50 years. So kind of a great event. We're planning on making that a little bit more regular. And I had my regular sessions here with the Empathy Circle and with a daily empathy buddy called Dustin. And yeah, I look forward to what we're going to do today. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And Paul.
Hi there. Yeah, thank you. I finished eating now.
Great.
I've had a pretty good week. It's been quite intensive. I don't have any comments or questions, but and I did reach out rather belatedly to my empathy buddy, but didn't get a response. So be keen to pick up that next time. And I didn't do a empathy session, but I've done them before. And one thing that I noticed, and this is one of the things that I'll probably cover later in the course, hopefully, is where there was one person in the group who didn't quite get the principle of reflecting back. And so obviously try and preempt that as much as possible by being clear up front. But one thing would be to cover all of the different ways that you might get somebody back on track once they've started to do it slightly not quite as it is intended. So I was learning how to do that on the fly. So a bit more practice in that would be good. But other than that, that's me.
Great, thanks, Paul. Okay, so who should we go to next? Tina, I've just, not specifically for you, Tina, but for everybody, I've just posted the questions in the chat just to remind people what we're looking at. So over to you, Tina.
Yeah, so I had a really wonderful empathy buddy call that lasted longer than half an hour. And I looked at what we were supposed to do afterwards, and I guess we didn't quite do it right, but I thought it was very helpful and fulfilling and just, it was awesome. So thank you, buddy. And yeah, I did not round up enough folks for a circle. And I had all the best intentions of doing an hour's empathic listening. And I did do some very good listening, I've been told, even though I didn't manage to do the format where I would get to reflect back. But it definitely has affected how I listen. And to just offer to people like, hey, just tell me if you just want me to shut up and listen, I will do that. So that's been good. And then one question just came up in my mind, and I don't know if or when that will get addressed. But so as we're training to be facilitators, what do we do if we're facilitating a circle and the speaker actually verbally attacks the listener or says something specifically about them, like something hurtful or just not just venting their general feelings, but like, you hurt me, you this, you that, and the listener yeah, how to just, you know, if like, what do we do if we ever are in a situation like that? That's something that came up. And that's me. Happy to be here.
Great, thanks, Tina. Perhaps that will be addressed with Anne when she does her little section on feedback in a minute. So over to Aaron next. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. I also had a fantastic buddy call this morning. We spoke about our lives and our experiences with empathy, and I was very sorry that it had to end when it did. And in terms of feedback from last session, nothing particularly springs to mind straight away, but I took the chance to facilitate the Empathy Circle that I go to on Thursdays with Bill to do with education, and that was good to just get the timing and everything. And I've been doing quite a lot of listening because I'm listening to a lot of students in school at the moment, supporting them. So I've got plenty of practice and asking if I'm finding reflecting back is such a powerful, powerful thing to know. Even sometimes if I don't say I'm going to reflect this, if I just do it, the people I'm supporting almost feel like they really want to go and open up more. So it's really great for my work. So yeah, thank you. Good to be here with you all.
Great, thanks, Aaron. Who should we move on to next? How about Celine? Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm jumping in. I haven't been here before, but Edwin made it possible for me to join you today, and I'm really happy to be here. I was on vacation last year. No empathy buddy call, no empathy circles, just the beach and the ocean. So this is sweet to be here with you all today. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Celine. Sounds lovely. Beach and the ocean. Pass on to Dean, please.
Misfortune didn't catch up with me. Sorry, I had the misfortune not to catch up with Larry. Larry was my empathy buddy, so I will be catching up with him in the next couple of days. So yes, things have been a bit chaotic, but that's the way things are at the moment for all of us. And it's a good lesson in learning on how to manage time more efficiently at the moment. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Over to Anne now.
For me, I had a buddy call with Graham, and that was interesting. It was good to actually have that bit of space and time to speak about some things that I had on my mind and have them reflected back. We actually broke it up by doing 5-minute turns at a time. And I think next time I will try for having 15 minutes continuously rather than going backwards and forwards. Yeah, it was good. And yes, and I've been in planning some empathy cafes during the last week. So, and that was challenging coming up with the topics and the wording of the topics, but that's me. Thank you. Back to you, Linda. Or am I last?
No, you're not. No, we're not round yet.
Okay.
Thanks, Anne. Over to Ron, please.
Good morning, everyone. I wasn't involved in a buddy call. I don't have nobody. Sorry, I like quips. I did use empathic listening in some interchanges with friends, and that was highly effective. And I am part of trying to maintain the remnants of Cohort 13.B. We are we have arranged to meet weekly and hopefully develop that as an empathy circle. So yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Ron. Over to Tieho now.
Greetings to everyone. Tēnā tātou katoa. First of all, my apologies to Joelle for not doing the buddy call. I see it on my email right now. So obviously I didn't look at my emails. It's not really my first go-to place, so I must attend to that and manage the time thing. Maybe for me, I really like our messenger channel for quick invite or that kind of stuff. So I think that's a great like blackboard, so to speak, for communication. What else? Yeah, I've got heaps on. I'm in study, and so I had my seminars over the weekend and an assignment due soon. One of my sons is a finalist in a national portraiture award, so I'm traveling to the capital this week coming, and so I've had lots and lots of stuff on. I had my house on the market as well, and I decided not to go through with selling it, even though I got the offer that I wanted. And as Ron mentioned, I'm part of the core of 11B, and the group is actually functioning. And it seems like there's lots of interest. And it's quite exciting to to take responsibility and to co-create something together with other people who also have a common experience around empathy circling. So, and I'm quite tired right now. I'm in a very quiet space.
Great.
Thank you.
Sounds great, Tieho. Yeah, it sounds like you've got a good thing going there with your circle. Thank you. Pass on to Julia, followed by Mark, please.
I didn't have a buddy, but that's because I left early again last week. I had another meeting, but I do practice a lot. I'm in every week for 2.5 hours, and sometimes extra ones. I'd just like to say that I might have to leave again. I'm not really training to do this soon because of my health. So if I do leave, please forgive me, because we're planning an action and there's a meeting again this evening.
Okay, over to Mark. Thanks, Julia.
Hi, yeah, so yeah, had a really good buddy call. That was very enjoyable to do, very interesting. Yeah, had a lot of flow in terms of the conversation was flowing, but it also was very connecting, very interesting too. Yeah, so that was great. Yeah, I mean, one thing that comes to my mind is also I just made some comments on that form on the document, and that was an interesting thing to do, because the document where we answer why is it important for XR to have more empathy, or to have introduce more empathy, or whatever. But anyway, yeah, that was really interesting to do, because in a way I got lots of ideas, but then writing it down is a whole nother thing, trying to be clear with it. So but anyway, I did it just before we began, and I found it valuable to do. Yeah, that's my comments. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Mark. And if we go to Edwin and then Renata.
Yeah, we just finished our Wednesday cohort, and we're in that time slot. We're doing some empathy circles for the next 3 weeks on how to go deeper in the empathy circle practice. So just, it's like an open exploration. And so that's what I've been working on, and working on some of the development, keep working on the development of the training, kind of keep refining it. So yeah, that's me.
Thanks, Edwin. Renata, are you ready to go?
Yeah, I had a really great chat with my buddy who helped me focus, because I had a really crazy week last week, quite intense. But then I managed to organize a circle, but with 2 friends rather than the ideal order 3. It was really, really good. They're both Buddhists, so it was kind of nice finding a topic. You know, I just asked them what the values Buddhism have to do with empathy, and we just had lots of conversations to be had after that. And I'm hoping to have one with my family next weekend. We'll see how that goes.
Fantastic, thank you. And then I think we've just got Renata and then myself, and then it'll be over to Anne.
Renata.
Sorry, Marta. Did I say Renata? I meant to say Marta. Hey. Renata's just been.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Lynn. So my buddy call was lovely. I suppose what surprised me about it is when people agree to do a buddy call, there's immediately a degree of depth in what is shared, and it's good for me to feed my curiosity. I'm a very curious person, and you don't often get to ask meaningful questions of people, but you can in those spaces. Then I usually have 2 sort of empathy buddy things a week. I had those, and then I hosted an empathy cafe on the topic of uncertainty. How are people with uncertainty? How are they managing it? What's helping? What's getting in the way? Thank you.
I just realised that Shai hasn't been. Yeah.
Hi, nice to see you all. Yeah, I had a meeting with my buddy Deborah, and it was really interesting. We both noticed how the slowing down experience of the empathic listening is bringing us closer to ourselves, and make it more real, or close to the more presence in life. It was very interesting. And I had another meeting, a longer meeting with Monica. Also, we experienced facilitating, and we had, I think that I also, when taking this to my life, when this is present in my life, this course, these meetings, so my other experiences also with people in my life, friends and family, are also different, are also more, well, good and bad, because it's also, it also disturbs me when it doesn't have this level of empathic listening, which is good, but it bothers me because then I want to take it to a deeper place. Yeah,
Right.
well, I will
Great,
stop
Shai.
here.
Yeah, thank you, Shai. Yeah, it's something that captures you, isn't it? You want to take on. Monica, have you been? Yeah, I thought you had been. Okay. Just checking, just checking up. Yeah, great. Larry, you've not been.
Oh, I was kind of offline earlier and now back online, but just wanted to say quickly that I've had phenomenal, amazing buddy calls with Graham, with Leslie and Michelle, and I'm really looking forward to the buddy call with Dean. And I can't say enough about the power of empathy circles. So I'll stop right there and let's get on with it. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Larry. Yeah, I'm going to pass on to Anne. I had a great empathy buddy call with Marta. It yeah, really felt we were sharing a lot of deep interests. So yeah, so I'm going to pass on to Anne now. Quick wave if anybody hasn't been. I think I've got everybody. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Linda. So we're going to just have a few minutes to answer any questions that have come up or in the feedback. I'm not going to attempt to go through all of them, but pick out some of them. We can come back, and I'm not going to put written answers in at the moment, but if there's something that you would like answered, please, you are welcome to put that in the feedback form, and then we will put in an answer there. So one of the questions that was there was how can we gently and lovingly prize people apart if they end up at each other's throats? Well, and there were some other circles which were expressing anxiety about what to do in situations if people were maybe speaking aggressively to the person listening to them. And for these, I would say that the answer is in the process and trusting the process by sticking quite carefully to a person choosing their listener and being listened to and reflected back, and the reflecting back being done simply without any judgment or adding in, but actually letting it be known what the person has heard. So reflecting those words, and the slowing down of the communication through our empathy circle process tends to, in my experience, diffuse any of these issues. And when things are, because sometimes things are more, it does feel a little bit more demanding, but trusting the process. And it's understandable at this stage in training to do the facilitation that you will have these concerns, you'll be worrying about things, but actually this is the place amongst other facilitators training that you can practice dealing with these situations that you see as being more difficult. And you will get a chance in the next couple of weeks of actually role-playing some of these things that you find difficult, and your fellow trainees will support, your fellow participants will help you with it. Or another question that was raised was about, yeah, in the verbal feedback just now, a speaker attacking the listener verbally. I think I've addressed that here really. And then there was nothing about somebody closing up and not really participating because they were feeling more vulnerable. Well, in that kind of situation, if it was somebody new to a circle, I would recommend just going gently as they feel their way into the process and experience it. Some people do take a little bit longer to settle into it. And if they were willing to participate in some way, then that's fine, and have their camera on. Give them a turn, a round, or maybe two to ease in. But if it continued that they weren't participating, then to have a word with them, maybe. But I found that people might want to pass for a 1 or 2 rounds, but then would feel more comfortable with the process and want to take part. Are there any other trainers or trainees who'd like to comment on any of the questions that were raised? Any other thoughts? Okay, so I will pass back to Graham.
I think I could see. Sorry, Anne, I could see Marta with a finger.
Ah, okay, I didn't see that. Marta, where is she's on the other screen?
Yeah, I was just going. I'm sure, you know, as you said, over the weeks, people are going to get an opportunity to experience it, and it'll ease the concerns. And I was going to say that to remember as well that as a facilitator, you're also a participant. And so as you're also a participant, that means that when it is your turn, if there's apprehensions or concerns, or like you're worried that people are at each other's throats, you can name that, and people in the circle also care for you because you're also a participant. So if you're uncomfortable, and you name it, any discomfort, then you're, you don't need to care for everyone and not care for yourself. So you can also use that as a tool. Use your own time.
Can I add something as well, please?
Yeah, go ahead, Graham.
And I'm thinking that when somebody's reluctant to participate, it may be worth dividing the problem. Are they having problems speaking, or are they having problems listening? If they're having problems speaking, then maybe ask them if they are willing to just say one sentence or two, or just one thought, and then hand over. So in other words, helping them to get an introduction, but do it in small steps rather than waiting for complete rounds before they participate.
So you're up, Graham, for describing the process, the breakout rooms.
Okay. So I would like to talk about the structure of the breakout rooms that we're going to go into. And we will have a trainer and generally 3 other participants. And it's the other participants, the trainees, who will then each in turn go through a full facilitation process. And each trainee facilitator needs to have some feedback. Between you, we could actually arrange either to have the feedback following their facilitation process or as a group right at the end. And my personal preference is to do the feedback immediately after a trainee facilitator session so that things are relevant. And in that case, you need to budget approximately 25 minutes, 20 minutes for facilitation and 5 minutes for feedback. So now going to some of the details of the facilitation process. So each trainee will go through this process where they would normally introduce new members. If they know each other, then there's no need for introductions. Then they introduce the practice and describe the processes of the empathy circle. They describe the topic, and the topic today will be, what are your thoughts about being an empathy circle facilitator? Or the catch-all, which is talk about whatever is uppermost in your mind. And whoever is leading the facilitation makes an active decision as to how long each turn is going to be, like 3 minutes or 4 minutes or 5 minutes, depending upon how many little turns they want within their session. And then the facilitator in each of their groups takes on volunteers to listen first and then invite others to speak so that they can actually model the process. And of course, the facilitator needs to keep the time and manage that whole process. And then at the end of your time, sort of hand that over to the feedback sessions. So that is how today's breakout groups will work. Thank you.
Okay, so we're ready to go into our breakout sessions. In the first group, Anne
Renata has a question.
Oh, sorry.
I was just wondering, that list was very useful. Is there any chance you can put that in the chat? The steps that you identified?
I'll put it in. So let me see. The facilitators will guide you in this. So it's just the steps. You're going to facilitate a mini empathy circle. You'll introduce the empathy circle practice. You'll set the time limits and the topic. And then the topic is, what are your thoughts and concerns about being an empathy circle facilitator or whatever is alive for you? And you'll set the time limit of 3 minutes, and then you'll have 5 minutes at the end for a debrief. And the context is that you're facilitating for people who aren't familiar with the practice. So in the first group, Anne is facilitating, and then Dean is room 2, Larry room 3, room 4 is Graham, and I'll be in that room because somebody dropped out. I'll join you in that call. And then Linda will be in the last group. And Celine, if you'll be a participant in that and also be a support, since you're very experienced in this. So kind of do 2 roles there. So here we go. And we have an hour.
Larry's popping in and out.
Oh, is he? Well,
yeah. Oh no, Larry's there. So somebody keeps popping in and out. I don't know who it is.
No, I'll keep an eye on it. So here we go. We have about an hour and 25 minutes, and then I'll give a 10-minute heads up before we come back for the last half hour to debrief. So here we go, and enjoy your circles.
Oh, I see. Of course. I was looking for a button, so I remain in the master group. Yeah, that's good.
This group is in the wait room. So if people somehow drop out, they come back through here. So it might be a little disruption. Then I send them to their.
It does help if we unmute ourselves before we actually try to speak, doesn't it?
Does, yeah.
So I'd like to welcome you all back. We've got about a minute each for each one of us to express about your experience and any insights you had from today's process. There are many ways to think about this. Maybe you can talk to how your experience was. Is there anyone that would like to start first, and then I'll choose people and name people afterwards? Was that Paul? Did I see your finger up there, Paul?
It is. I'm being a little bit naughty because I'm really, really tired, and I'm going to head off after this. But if I can go first, that would be really appreciated. I just want to say thank you. I've got such a lot from that session, and we all seem to do it okay. It went really quite well, and I'm just reflecting on the value of being able to be in circle as part of this training each week. I know we may do more as well, but at the very least, come here each Monday evening and have a bit of time to be heard and have a lot of time really actively listening. And I'm getting a huge amount from it. So just a big thank you, and lots more to learn.
Thank you, Paul. I'll call on Deborah. Then after Deborah, we'll go to Ron.
Hi. Yes, very powerful session. A lot of learnings around. Yeah, we explored how to maintain safety when someone's feeling in distress.
Thank you, Deborah. Ron, and then after Ron, if you could come Shy.
Thank you. Yeah, I enjoyed today. I always find it a struggle getting up so early in the morning and switching my brain on. And I noticed that I had a real energy spike, and now I feel like that spike is really slipping away. But I think I think the practice is so valuable, and I look forward to more of it. Thanks.
Thank you, Ron. After Shy, could Monica go then? Thank you.
Yeah, it was really actually my first experience in facilitating this circle, and it was interesting and fun. Yeah, that's all for now in 1 minute.
Thank you, Shy. After Monica, could Mark go, please?
Yeah, thank you to the group of people I had the experience with. It was interesting. I think I'm mostly left with the question, what kind of listening is happening here? And I found it interesting, some NVC understanding dropped in.
Thank you, Monica. After Mark, could Linda go, please?
So yeah, that was a really good session. I thought it was great. Oh look, the group we had. I did my first facilitation, which I quite enjoyed. And from doing the facilitation now, I'm now somehow more interested in what it takes to facilitate, which tends to be the way it goes. So it was really good.
Thank you, Mark. After Linda, could Marta go, please?
Yeah, we had a great circle. I feel like there was loads that I learned from other people, and yeah, and I learned things about myself too. So that's all good. Great. Thank you to everybody.
Thank you, Linda. After Marta, could Celine go, please?
I'm appreciating Anne for structuring it for us so that everyone knew what to do at any given moment. And it was nice, first times, you know, being part of first times is always exciting. And I'm going to be sitting with something that came up around not already knowing what you're going to say, not already knowing what you're going to do, that space of not already knowing. Thank you.
Thank you, Marta. After Celine, could Lara go, please?
I enjoyed our circle very much and thought there was a lot of learning. And I am thrilled to share with you, Monica said that a friend of hers has written a book, children's book, in which the girl, the hero, her power is listening. And I'm just so excited. It's going to make my day. I'm complete.
Thank you, Celine. After Larry, could Tina go, please?
Yeah, it's wonderful circle, and wow, what a great book. You know, it's really all about the listening, isn't it? The power of listening. Amazing. And that's what kept coming up in our group. The beauty of it all is the listening. So thank you.
Thank you, Larry. After Tina, could Joelle, please?
It was quite lovely, and I liked both that we were able to hold space for each other as we tried this for the first time, like being the presenter and going like, blah, blah, blah. And I felt that everybody had that person's back, that it made it kind of safe and easy. And we said kind words to each other afterwards. So I feel like very encouraged that, yeah, maybe I did okay. But I'm still apprehensive to do it outside of here, because this is like the sandbox. This is where it's safe. I don't know what it's going to be like when we're actually a little bit more in charge with others who don't know the process, and we're to be that space holder to make the safe space for them. Check.
Tina. After Joelle, could Tiaho go, please?
I just am, I think no matter how many times I have this experience, it just strikes me what a sort of dynamic, enriching process it is. And I was more anxious about the role of facilitator, and I feel much less anxious. And I'm learning so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Joelle. After Tiaho, could Alan go, please?
Thanks, Dean, for the prompt. Well, I enjoyed the warmth and the care that we had in our circle through the processes with each other. The flexibility and the genuine feedback. You know, I feel really blessed to be in a process where it's a learning process, and there's genuine learning and there's genuine critique as well, that's enhancing. So wonderful. That's me, check.
Thank you, Tiaho. After Aaron, could Renata go, please?
I was, yeah, the whole time I was just taken back by how great the people in the group were, and I really, to put the process just to the side for a second, just really enjoyed getting to know people. And then to link that in with the process, we spoke at the end about how it creates like a bubble around you, and you can all sort of like get to know each other without being too afraid of you know, saying stuff that's going to affect your status or whatever sort of worries which people have. My own personal experience is this. So yeah, super grateful for this training, and it wouldn't be training if you didn't have training teammates. So thank you to all of you. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Aaron. After Renata, could Cecilia go, please?
So I think for me, it was a really interesting process to talk about the things that that I'm concerned about, and I'm very grateful for my colleagues for my teammates to listen to me. I actually continue to talk the conversation in more than one cycle. So yeah, that was really useful. And yeah, and I always find the process really transformative. And I really like the fact that the conversations, they move, they don't stay static. We keep on getting deeper as we go around, and I love that. Thanks all very much.
Thank you, Renata. After Cecile, could Graham go, please?
I'll pause and please, I had to have body till next week. I might have to leave.
Cecile. After Graham, could Anne go then, please?
This session was an amazing experience. It was very powerful, like Deborah said, but it was also kind of dramatic as well. And I use dramatic in the sense that it's very kind of powerful, and there was a lot of brinkmanship involved. Anyway, the kind of facilitator lesson was not only that experience, but the topic of safety and how to make things safe for people. Yeah, without safety, you can't freely share. But then when there was somebody not feeling safe, there was an amazing amount of empathy that was generated amongst other people. So there doesn't seem to be a particular way in which the sense of safety and vulnerability operates. It's just difficult to put these things into words, but it was just an amazing experience today. And I thank all the participants in our team, Cecilia, Deborah, and Edwin. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Graham. After Anne, could Edwin speak, please?
And for me, I think again, and this isn't the first time I've said this, is I feel really privileged to have been in the circle with the other participants, Shai and Mark and Marta, and our conversation was very much we engaged with, and we were being very natural in the way we speak. So we were actually being authentic in the present, and that was part of our discussion, how this is something that is actually happening in the world. There's more openness to this authenticity of our communication, rather than it all being prefigured and planned and to a fine schedule. So I'm grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. After Edwin, I'll speak, and then we'll pass on to Larry, who will do the final closing.
Alrighty, then I want to make the point that we're all learners here, the facilitators, the trainers, the trainees, the participants. We're all in sort of a learning practice. So kind of have that learning mindset. And we're here to support each other empathically with whatever comes up. And I think it is that mutual empathy that creates that supportive and safe environment. And the main focus I'm working on sort of in the design is how do we make this easier, this section on everyone presenting the empathy circle. And so if you have any ideas, do send me a note and an email about that, because I'm really trying to focus on this in terms of creating some intro videos that you can see before coming into this section. Maybe some really good model how to introduce the empathy circle, and how do you evaluate the facilitator, and how do you be a trainee in terms of holding the whole space. So there's a lot we can do to really make this ever more easier and functional sort of a learning experience. So that's it. Thanks, Dean.
Thank you, Edwin. I too have to voice that about actually the trainers learning from the trainees. There's this wonderful cross-pollination process that always goes on in a circle. I come in with a structure, but then the structure is not the point. The structure is the bones upon which the flesh is then laid down, that then makes the body of the circle. And that actual opening up and building of the body, and actually just by the time the circle's closed, we have this beautiful thing that's happened. It's a very cosmic shared experience for me. I sometimes get metaphysical, but I mean, it's a very simple process to learn, but it's a very powerful process, and it's one that's going to take many lifetimes to master, I feel. So on that point, I'm going to pass it on to Larry. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So here are a few things for the closing. A question: are there any trainer final comments?
I got one, Larry. So already you can, these cohorts go, we have 5 sessions, and there'll be, several open empathy circles, empathy cafes after this training, and then we'll start the next cohort. So if you can already start thinking about inviting others to take part in the training, kind of spread the word, invite people into the Facebook event for the next one, so we can, get a bit of a momentum to prepare for the next training. So keep that in mind. Yeah, so that was it. Thanks, Larry.
No further questions. What's coming up next week? In session 3, we will practice facilitating again, but next week, you will be able to decide whether to have some challenges from your facilitator. This course is designed to let you go at your own pace. So next week, your facilitator will ask you if you want a challenge, and you can pick no challenge, easy challenge, or a harder challenge. Your trainer will not give you more challenge than you want. And assignments will be: send out an email, reminder to fill out the session feedback survey. The link is in the chat. Hold an empathy buddy call. And you will be paired up with new empathy buddies. Try to facilitate an empathy circle with family and friends or friends. Please post one feeling that you have now as a result of being here today. And let's have the jazz hands for goodbye, and we'll see you next week.
You want to read some of those feelings? Warm, good, privileged. Inspired, engaged, weary, engaged, gratitude. So,
honored,
trust, unknowing, relaxed. Okay, well, we'll see you next week then. We ended a little bit earlier today, so got through that pretty quickly, the last part. So if you're a trainee, a trainer, do stay back for our debrief. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
See you next week.
Bye.